Hey everyone, welcome to the Game Designer Perspective. I am Mao, and I'm a game designer working on the video game industry. Today I want to talk about Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, which is a game that I absolutely adore. It released last year, and I went nuts with it on my Switch, to be honest. But before anything, quick disclaimer, this video only represents my opinions and my opinions alone. It does not represent my brother's opinions, it does not represent any of my employers, past, present, or future. Alright? With that said, let's begin. I really want to emphasize that I love this game, so for that I'm gonna start with the bad, because if not, you guys will think that I did not like this game. I think this game could improve a lot on its camera. The camera, it works. I mean, making the camera in a game is one of the most difficult things, but at times it's not responsive enough. For example, when I hit the wall, the camera is not responsive enough. It takes a lot of time for it to go back behind the character's back. Those kind of situations make this game a little bit uncomfortable, especially when you're making a 3D platformer. Usually in 3D platformers, we have cameras that rotate with the character. For example, if I move right without using the right stick, the camera will rotate with the character. So if I only have the left stick tilted to the right, the character is gonna turn around. That's usually because handling platforming challenges and having to deal with the camera is often not very comfortable for the player. So level design and game design should accommodate for that. For example, a lot of the time you have this combo. When I do some tricks, I started increasing my combo meter. To keep it, you cannot stop grinding or doing tricks. So often you're gonna run out of rail and you're gonna do this, right? You're gonna wanna turn. The camera is just not responsive enough. At times it often feels like it is very slow, which leads me to my next point. There should be a button to allow me to reset the camera behind the character's back. Again, 3D platformers usually do this by placing a button on the shoulders or the triggers. Mario Odyssey does this where you press you press L, you reset the camera's position. There's nothing like that in Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. You can perfectly move the camera with the right stick, but there's no way for me to reset it. So when I'm in the middle of a challenge, it is very tough to actually handle the camera. At the same, some challenges do require that you move very fast and that you react very fast, right? For example, this challenge right here in Matano, which is probably my favorite level in the game, you'll see that the camera is like, whoa, it moves so quick all the time. When you have rails this short, maybe it would be better to just leave the camera static for a bit, because you start getting dizzy. Often when you want to jump, there's just not enough time for me to react and move the camera and jump and do all that sort of stuff. So the camera and a button that could reset the camera behind the player's back would certainly alleviate these issues. That's enough with the camera. I'm back here in the hideout. I must say, I absolutely adore that there is a hideout. You see that right now I'm using the skates, which is actually my favorite sort of movement, right, in the game. You can also choose between a bicycle, BMX. Sure, yeah, let's change to that. Yes, you have all of these means of transportation and all of them have different sort of tricks, but in the end, what I wish the game did more is make every single vehicle feel different. There's also skateboard. So skateboard and skates and the BMX, everything feels pretty much the same. There's no clear difference between any of them. You'll see that if I rotate with the character, you'll see that everything feels pretty much the same. When I turn around, you'll see that it's pretty much the same, right? When I grind a rail, it's pretty much the same, right? It feels a little faster on the BMX, but not enough for it to feel like a clear difference. So in the end, you just stick to the one you like the most, and that's it. And the only thing that actually changes is that there is some doors in some levels that ask you to use a BMX, for example. That's the one that comes to my mind right now. Ask you to use the BMX to open the door. Yeah, you open the door, you get something out of it, and that's pretty much it. With that said, I would rather switch to a skateboard. Alright, back in the skateboard, one of the topics that actually frustrated me the most while I was playing the game is that I never felt navigation throughout the story, not level design navigation, but mostly throughout the story. my objectives and that kind of stuff, I never felt it was extremely clear. I was actually very frustrated at some point that I did not know where to go. They told me, hey, look for this person. I was never able to find her. I had to go to YouTube and find a walkthrough, and that's where I have to go. Later I found out that the map shows you, but as a very small and very little red dot, shows you where you have to go. Right now this is a cleared save file, I'm so sorry for that, but it's a very small dot and I never saw that. I don't think there was a tutorial for that, and if I skipped it, I'm sorry, but this is also something that as designers you kind of have to take into consideration, that a lot of the times people will skip your tutorials and you're gonna miss engagement if you're not able to properly tell your players what everything does, even if they don't read the tutorial. So it's very hard, to be honest. It's very hard to design something like that. I don't think there was ever a tutorial, to be honest, or they ever told me like, hey, go to this little red dot. I swear to you, I cleared the map and did every graffiti, right? Because I love how you paint graffiti, where you have to do all of these patterns, right? And you do a new graffiti and stuff like that. I pretty much found them all and I couldn't find the NPC. And then it turned out it was just a generic NPC, just like this one I have right in front of me. But she was dancing. How am I supposed to find that? It was very, very tough for me to find it, right? There was no HUD, nothing to tell me, yo, come here. This is where you have to go, and this is where you will come. Well, you keep on with the story, right? So I do think navigation should be clearer, and if you need a HUD to do that, which is basically a cheap solution to do it, that's fine. But just make it super clear where players need to go. Because it's not fun getting stuck, wanting to keep on with the story and you're stuck, and that's just so not fun. To the point that it's probably the hot topic on this video. I did not enjoy combat at all. Usually when you're in a level, right, and you start painting graffiti and all that kind of stuff, cops will come around. They will come around, they'll start haunting you, shooting at you and all that kind of stuff. You can fight them. That's where things get not smooth for me. You have 3 buttons that actually work as your melee combat as well as your tricks. It never feels engaging, it never feels polished, it just feels like it's there. That's pretty much it. Like, you can spam an attack and here you are, right? And that's pretty much it. And you have boss fights that are also somewhat you're also somewhat required to melee combat them, right? You have a little bit of a platforming challenge there, but usually, like, you do have to deal at some point with melee combat, and I don't think melee combat is fun in this game. To be honest, I actually don't even think they should improve combat, right? I think they should just completely ignore combat, right? Like, if they were ever to make a Bomb Rush Cyberfunk 2 or Bomb Rush Cyberfunk Future or any sort of game like that, I think they should just get rid of combat. And this one should have too, right? Like, the system is there, I mean, it works, I'm hitting the guy, but it's just not engaging and it's not just fun, and it just feels like something I have to deal with to keep on playing the fun stuff, right? I much rather just paint on these guys, stun them, and just leave. It just feels completely out of the scope of the team. They were a very small team, and in the team, and what they did is amazing. They should focus on what they are doing great and just get rid of what's not there. Now onto the good stuff. I adore the character controller. It just feels amazing. You have 2 character controllers here. Well, 4 if you want to talk about BMX and skates and skateboards and whatever. But right now at my disposal, I have 2 character controllers. I can run like this and I can skate. Both of them feel very different and both of them feel fantastic. Let me talk about this one first. Only this character controller, this by itself, I could have an entire 3D platformer just based on this character controller and I would love it. The character's name is Red, right? So I could just play as Red all day long and not get tired of it. The way he controls is just amazing. The jump, the boost, everything feels really good. Oh, you can also dash, and if you're going down, like, you speed up, and It feels really good, and you can catch up speed really cool with that dash, right? But only this, like I could have this, and this is a perfectly fine 3D platformer character controller. I love it. I love it. The way he leans and runs and has so much feel, and he bounces, like his animations are amazing. And on top of that, we have skating, which feels awesome. Skating in the game feels really good. All the tricks you can do, right? And whenever I see a playthrough of the game, right, come up, I don't know, someone is just getting from point A to point B, and they love jumping and just doing tricks because it just feels fun. It's just fun, right? And when you have something like that people are just jumping and doing tricks without it actually involving the combo meter, it just means your character controller is fun. It's just fun to play as, and these guys nailed it. It's really good. On top of that, you can boost, right? You can at any point switch the character controllers. You can get off the skate, you can boost, you can perform tricks, you can grind rails, which also feel amazing, right? Oh my god, I can't get enough of this. I can't get enough of this character controller, and I hope they make a sequel out of it. And if they improve it, I'm gonna be more than happy with it, because I literally spent hours and hours and hours just doing this, what I'm doing right now. On the other hand, the level design. I think the level design is extremely fun. They do give you these playgrounds that feel really cool to perform tricks, and these playgrounds sort of have a path designed so that you increase your combo meter. They feel really good. Increasing your combo meter and finding the ways to increase it is really fun, because to increase it, you have to grind rails, and while you're grinding rails, whenever there's a sharp turn, you kind of have to lean with it. So every time you lean with it, you increase the combo meter. If you stop grinding, you're gonna lose it. There's a way, like if you start, like, I don't really know how this is called, right? If you're doing that, you won't lose your, if you do a manual, you won't lose your combo meter, but eventually you'll run out of manual. So you have to find ways to not lose it, right? You see, I have 3 there. Oh my god. Oh, I didn't lose it. Cool. Oh my god, you see camera there. But they often give you like these paths that you sort of follow to increase your meter, and you're not forced to do so. So the level feels like a proper playground, and it is amazing. You'll have a lot of fun just increasing your score, which also is increasing your score is not hard. Like whenever you find the way, you find how to not lose your combo meter, like you can at any point just like say, okay, I'm tired of just my score, I'm just gonna let it go, right? But the level design just motivates you to do more and more and more tricks and just keep playing and going with the flow, and it is really cool. Really, really good. With that said, all of the characters, mechanics, and level designs are what, to me, makes this one of the best games of 2023, to be honest. I adored it. And I don't want you guys to think that for any of the negative aspects that I talked about the game, I did not like it, because I absolutely adore it. Now, what I would love for a sequel. I think these guys nailed it in what they wanted to do. They wanted to make a Jet Set Radio Future clone, and they nailed it. It's really fun. It does feel like Jet Set Radio past, present, future 2, whatever you guys want to call it. It does feel like it. It truly does. It makes me not miss Jet Set Radio Future, because I love that game too. It makes me not miss it, and with that, I'm completely fine. But what I would love for them to have on a sequel is craft their own identity now. I think they have something really special. I think these guys learned a lot with this. I want to see them craft something that has their own flair, their own taste. I think this is an incredibly talented team, and I would love to see them do this, but now make it their own. Make Jet Set Radio their own. And I think we're gonna have a blast if they do that. I mean, if they do Bomb Rush Cyberfunk 2 and it's more of the same, I'm gonna have a blast either. But I think it's time, right? I think it's time they tackle their own game, their own thing, their own style, and their own taste. They know what makes Jet Set Radio fun. They can learn from the mistakes they did here, and they can move to something really cool. With that, I'm gonna leave you to it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I absolutely adore this game. But as a designer, I kind of have to learn from what makes a game good and what makes a game bad. This industry relies a lot on learning from other games, what they do good, what they don't. And that's what I do. I'm kind of giving you my notes here of what I learned from this game. Team Reptile is an incredibly talented team, and I love that game. And Team Reptile, if you're watching this, I absolutely adore this game. Please make a sequel. Please. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, please.